Ba-da-ba-boo.
Nice.
Ah,
Welcome to the holiday taint.
yes.
Yes. Favorite time of the. It's weird. Wednesdays don't work for me for holidays. It's fucking me up. My dates.
It is.
I
It's horrible.
accept of anything at all.
It's a really bad format, and we should just bail on it when a calendar comes around to it again.
Yeah.
Just we'll act like that's just not an option anymore. I'll be honest with you. It's rude to put a holiday on any day, like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Knock it off. That's not a
hmm
time for holidays.
It's great if you're in third grade. You get 2 weeks
That's
off. That's
about
about
it.
it. Yeah.
That's about it. Once you're an
Um.
adult, you have no use for a Wednesday holiday.
No. I'm taking Wednesday off this week. It's for New Year's Day, so I'll enjoy that, I guess. Have two on, one off. And it's like it's cool because you know what? I would rather not work Wednesday than work Wednesday. But there's
Right.
no
That is
it's not a
true.
real
It is
it's
better than
all
working.
it's a formality. Am I gonna do it? I don't know. There's football games on. But you can't get the true joy that you can out of like a full 2 day weekend because you got to, you're right back in there tomorrow. I can't get shit faced watching football because I got to get up tomorrow and do shit. We need to change
Especially those
this.
night games. Those night games, you're just like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to sleep during halftime unless like
it is.
something amazing is happening because it's a nightmare, man.
That happened all season, like Sunday games, especially if there was stakes on it. I would just be like watching those NBC games, and I'd wake up and be like, "Well, I hope this went my way." I fell asleep like a real human adult at 10 or 10:30, and this game went
Yeah,
another 2 hours after that, and I just can't handle it anymore.
yeah.
And you think that would make me stop betting on those games that I'm watching, but it doesn't. It won't.
Especially when those
I
things go.
won't stop.
I swear, it's always the night games that find their way to overtime too, and you're like, come on, man. You're like, please stop. I don't want to do this.
I do enjoy. Oh, this is my favorite part of this time of the year. Is the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, because we're only going up from here, baby. It's only getting better. Like I was looking forward to the 20. I don't know what it was this year, the 21st. But I'm so happy. We're like 9 days removed. These days, could you
Yeah,
tell today? Sunlight was like
a
seven
little
minutes
bit,
longer.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's real nice. I wouldn't say
I
sunlight
like
for
it.
here, but daytime. The
Yeah,
night walkers
yeah.
took a longer time to come out.
Right. They were held at bay slightly longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a positive. Certainly an abnormally warm last couple of days. But yeah, man. I mean, I can do without the darkness. But we got about 9 more weeks until we really kick it back into that daylight savings year. But now I'm wondering if that daylight savings time is going to come back around where like there's going to be more legislation to like maybe bump time in the right direction. Um, Really sad that I thought this was the year because that was the projected thing, but I think it got attached to a bill that also said like we would start like being communist or something. And it's like, oh, got attached to the wrong bill. That one got shot down. So I don't know. I don't know how bills work. This is all my interpretation of bills. But either way, I think if we all just band together and just act like it doesn't happen, can it just not happen? Don't the people
Yes.
decide that? Why does the government have to
The
tell us
people.
whether or not we
Put
use that stupid
yeah.
time?
Put the power into the people's hands and hammers and sickles.
Oh,
I've confused my priorities. Isn't it supposed to come to me? Yes, this is how it's meant to be. Every little thing flashing on a screen. Age of convenience. My daddy worked hard for this.
For this second 100 episodes of our podcast, I really want to just make it a running, just really trying to introduce communism into the world. That's gonna be
okay.
my it's gonna be my whole bit, you guys. It's a bit.
So I have a great thing that just literally a topic that just came to mind because it just popped up on my computer. So we all love our Spotify wrap ups. We saw that. We recently shared our little FanDuel wrap ups, reminding us of
between each other, our
sports
betting
gamblings.
histories. Well, that doesn't show the total plus minus. That would have been
Right.
upsetting.
But I just got a pop up from my Edge I guess from my Edge browser. I'm operating on Chrome, but a pop up just said, "Explore Edge year in review. Find out how tabs, security, and themes shaped the way Edge users browsed in 2024. No. Stop it.
Riveting.
Right.
Riveting.
Whoa. I'd been wondering,
Yeah.
how did Microsoft's browser see 2024? What would you say was big in the world of Edge browsing? Something I don't do because I use Google Chrome. But thank you for the year in review, Edge.
When I think about Edge browsing, it's not about the browser itself. It's about the content.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like browse edging. That's really
Bro,
what it
have you
comes
seen
down to.
Edge's tabs lately? Sick, dude. What a year for tabs. Big
I'm
tab
trying
year.
to make Edge a thing.
Right.
We do use it at work, so I love having to say that, like, oh, click on the when a new employee trying to get him onto something, like, click on the Edge icon. It looks like a wave, or I don't know what it is. Nobody uses it. The only people that use it are people that at work, for some reason, workplaces decided they'd keep Edge going. I don't know if it's a bit or what, but it's like, no, we function strictly with Edge. We're full on edging all the time. We're hard edging. That's what we do. It's all. It's part of our.
We like to
thing.
call
Yeah.
ourselves Edge Lords. It's a good
Yeah.
look.
Man, yeah. How was Well, hey, I want to do a quick announcement since this is episode 101 and this is a podcast about two guys who are friends. We'll just say that we're
Okay.
currently friends. You guys, we are currently
We
100
did it.
episodes later. We are friends. So, you have to go back to one to see how much we hated each other, dude. It was terrible.
Violence. Sabotage.
But we did make an announcement at the end of the last episode, and I'm assuming most people don't hang around to the end of it. If you do, you're a real fan, and you also don't mind us saying something again, because that's part of our deal as well. But we're going to have a guest on. He played in a band that does the opening theme for our song. His name's Brett. We're going to try something new, you guys, so look forward to that this new year. And also, Happy New Year. This episode's dropping on New Year's Day. Again, another great day to release content, much like Christmas Day, when people are just consuming ravenously podcasts
Yeah,
and
so
content. Yeah, it's huge.
It's going to be a lazy
big boom.
morning. Just have the podcast on to wake you up. Get 2025 started off on the right foot.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Get yourself a little ginger, a little turmeric. You're going to be okay. Hopefully you got a Pedialyte there. Get yourself some eggs.
Hydrate.
Something you
Hydrate
can do.
before. Hydrate. Oh,
Yeah.
I hope you hydrated before. It's too late to
Yeah, hope
hydrate,
you- yeah.
in fact.
It's too
By
late
the time
now.
you're listening to this, it's too late to hydrate.
But just ride the wave. You know what? Don't think about it. This whatever this is, the pain, the head in the clouds feeling, the nausea, it goes away. You know it does. This isn't your first rodeo. All right? This is your pump up for 2025. And someone's going to tell you don't do this anymore. But you say, listen, it's a new year. The calendar rolls on. Life goes on. We keep doing this. This is how life works.
New year, new me. Oh, you're going to stop drinking? No, I'm just going to get better at it. I'm just going to prep
Yeah.
and I'm going to address it better. Yeah,
I'm going to hate
so-
myself less for it. That'll be
Right.
the
I'm
thing.
going to be more accepting of my inevitable drinking. That's how it's going to go down. Well, whatever you
how
have to
was
do,
your-
folks. Whatever you
Yeah.
have to do.
What was Christmas like for ye?
Spent it in Jersey. Spent it with. Went to Caitlin's family gathering. Exchanged some presents. We did ours at home. Watched some football. Ate some food. Did pretty standard stuff. Play a little board game action.
Okay.
But yeah, and then called it because I had worked Christmas Eve and I worked day after Christmas.
Fuck Wednesdays.
Yeah, just because it's on a Wednesday, so I work the day before and day after. So it's just kind of this weird thing that happened in the middle of the week. But yeah, I mean, pretty run of the mill. How about yours?
Exactly the same. You know what? When I go around the store and talk to people, everybody kind of had the same consensus, which is like it was great because I didn't do anything, and that was like again, the hump day Christmas was like I need a day. It's just a day off, honestly. But very chill, vibey Christmas I felt this year. Like I didn't feel like there was a lot of hullabaloo. I mentioned that last time. Like it seemed like everybody was like happy to get to Christmas, but just as a relief. And that's that's what a holiday should be, a relief. Unless, you spend it with people you're not into, and then that's a whole other thing. So, to those people, I say today on New Year's, again, ibuprofen. There's something B12. That'll help you out today. That's what you got. It's not going to change anything. I'm sorry, but it'll be okay. I did have maybe an epiphany on Christmas Eve.
Maybe an epiphany. That's interesting.
Maybe. So we did Christmas Eve at my twin sisters for the first time ever. So maybe it's a new tradition. I don't know. It was fun. We played apples to apples with the kids and everybody else. It got out of hand completely. It was fun.
Good.
Super fun.
Good.
Which I think we've talked about on this show before, but a superior game to Cards Against Humanity. Just you got to be way more creative. You got to like read people more. You got to get more inventive. Just way more fun than the obvious. Then I got home that night, and so I dabbled in the Christmas story. That's one of my favorite traditions of all. Even when I was like in Texas and I had my orphan Christmases, whether it was building a day bed / night bed in the living room and just having it on at night. But now I like to like wrap up my Christmas presents on Christmas Eve to a Christmas story. And this year I was watching, when I first turned it on for the first time, it was at the end of the movie, with Ralphie opening his presents and talking about, how he got almost everything he wanted. And then sure enough, Dad's like, oh, what's that over there behind the desk? That scene. And dude, I was like, you know what? Maybe for the first time, maybe I want kids. Okay. That's like the first time I've ever really considered that. Cause I was like, that's fucking awesome as a dad to be like,
what a move.
Because the mom wasn't in on it, but it's like, I'm going to give him this fucking BB gun. I know it. Like, I can, you can tell he's like the hard ass dad, but he like really cares about his boys, whatever's going on. And I don't even think he's that hard ass of a dad. I mean, throughout the movie, he's kind of like just an old timey dad, but he's not like, doesn't seem like a ruthless disciplinarian or anything. He just has a certain moral compass and code that he grew up with.
Right.
In the wartime
let us not
America.
forget. We're watching the movie, and that man at the time would have been born in the 1800s.
Oh, in the movie, yeah.
In that movie,
because it's like 1940s. Yeah,
it's 1940, I think,
yeah,
exactly.
40.
So
yeah, because Wizard of Oz had just come out. Yeah.
So the old man at that time, he looks like he's probably 52 to 55, I would say. An older man, but got a wife after he was secure with a home and stuff. So he's 1885 to 1890, his birth year. So yeah. What?
I don't know what any of this shit is, and I'm fucking scared.
That blew my mind. You're mathing Christmas Story? I've never done that.
Well, sometimes you gotta. I'm helping you. I'm helping you get your point across of what type of household that man raises.
Jeepers. No kidding. So yeah, he's a child of World War One.
Basically. Yeah, he could have fought in World War One.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. But yeah, gets him that, man. Fuck yeah. Gets him that BB gun. Mm-hmm. And he just knows what it's going to mean to him, how much he wanted it. Just like, casual. Oh, yeah, it's fine. No, don't worry about, And it's like, that's got to be such a special bonding moment. That was cool as fuck. And I was like, I'd love to have that moment with a child. Preferably my child.
That moment with a child. If it's not mine, that'd be weird.
If it's not going that direction, well, I'll find something else. It'll work out. I'll find another. But yeah. It was okay. Good Christmas. Solid Christmas. And looking forward to the new year, I guess. I don't know. They're just days. Are we at the age now where it's just days on a calendar going, flipping? Going
Mhm.
flipping over a Jeopardy calendar day to day. Is that all we're doing in life?
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet.
What is yes? Let's go.
What is true?
Um, did you have? I know we sort of like did a debrief on the last episode. Maybe brought in some of our bits,
Right.
if you can call them that.
Right.
And at the end, when we were done, you were like, "Well, I had like." I
Some
kind of
stuff
like
in
went
lock.
through the first 5 episodes, and you
Yeah.
did you do a little research? Did you enjoy that? Number
Not-
one, were you happy about that?
It was interesting. It was interesting. I didn't take a lot of things of note because what I did is I don't have the patience to like sit and listen to the whole thing, so I kind of like skipped around in episodes and would like listen to what we were talking about and think of the topics. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember this, and blah, blah. So I just kind of jumped around and just took note of about 5 or 6 things that I'm like, I'm gonna bring this up. So
Okay.
from our
100
first
episodes
episode,
ago, by
Right.
the way.
I believe this is. I think I had them properly. So, God damn it, I don't even know. I don't even know what some of these things are. But anyway, my notes. I don't even know what some of them. So,
I love
you
that.
displayed a pure hatred for mushrooms in our first episode. Have you changed anything in the last 2 years about your opinion? In the last 100 episodes, have you changed your opinion on mushrooms?
Great question. Wow. This is like a real relationship where you ask each other things that you know about each other, or that you jotted down because you forgot. But yeah, mushrooms. I still do give them a try. What I'm on now, though, is I take every day. AG1, sponsor of every podcast, except this one. And it's a good supplement. I think good probiotics, yada yada. I mostly do it because Joe Rogan does it, and I really. Blah,
That's
blah, blah.
important to
Joe
do.
Rogan.
That's an important reason. That's
Yeah.
a good reason to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I also scoop in there something called OM, which I think OM, which is probably a pretty common mushroom supplement now. It's a super food one or super blend of like, I don't know, reishi and lion's mane and turkey's neck and all these mushrooms that have all these like effects. Are you saying right? Do you know this? Are you in on this? No. Okay. All right. And I also just hallucinate every morning, so it's really good. It's like mushrooms have like great benefits, or so it would seem, or so I'm told. And I don't know, like it's immune stuff, energy stuff, a lot of that. So maybe I could be or should be in worse health if I weren't taking this. But it's good, a little scoop. So I do get the flavor of mushroom in that, but it doesn't have the texture, which is probably the worst part of mushroom. And I could probably stomach it more than I could 100 weeks ago. But I never put it on anything. I usually pick them off, especially if they're cooked, like slimy. And not that I like the raw choices anymore, but they're a little earthier tasting. But yeah, it's a texture thing. And again, I will keep trying. Same with coffee. I'll try it here and there.
There's health benefits to mushrooms?
Yeah. And again, is it like there is a lot? Sorry, there are a lot of data. See, how I did that. See, I use English. People love it when you use data as a plural. Should be, or it could be a placebo effect. I don't know. I've come into this. This is a big year for me in placebo effects and wondering, is therapy working or is it a placebo? Do these supplements work? Is it a placebo? Does this vitamin D3 work or is it placebo? And you know what's really strong? The power of placebo if it does work.
Right.
Because what's better than believing that you are well and then what you're doing is good for you and that it pumps you up and makes you feel good? Probably nothing. There's probably no stronger drug than the placebo effect. And so I'm very much in on it. I mean, there is like a lot of like stuff about mushrooms in these supplements. Is it FDA? I don't know.
I don't know. Never looked into it. I don't care.
Yeah. A lot of people that I trust on Reddit say that they.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's more and more like you'll see like I don't know if you say. I mean, it's probably popular in the urban areas where you are, but there's probably restaurants that like work with like mushroom farmers and small batch like fungis and but yeah, apparently there's a lot of good. You guys, let us know. Is this placebo or is it placebo? Is that a
Right.
segment?
Yeah. Oof, boy.
That's gonna be a
So-
placebo.
Another, we talked about the news. We were big on talking about the news a
Oh,
lot
no.
of times when we first started, just to get some content. You had mentioned that there was a discovery, if you will, of that the core of the Earth it was suddenly spinning in the opposite direction, and you and I basically speculated that that was really going to change things. I have not heard any follow-ups about the core of the Earth spinning in the opposite direction. I don't know.
Wow, we talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
I don't remember it at all because you're right. Nobody's talked about it, and it's scared. Just that sentence scared me. I don't know why.
Let's see.
And
So
is that good? Is it bad? I guess it doesn't matter at all. It
We
just
don't know.
is, right?
let's see. Was there any
gonna-
recent
he's gonna-
articles on that?
It's gonna cite the same article from 2 years ago.
It really is. The article that's coming up is from CBS News, January 24th of 2023. So it looks like there is not much developments on this.
Well, it takes it'll probably but in like a million years it'll be really cooking. That's when
Okay.
that's Earth time.
Well, it's important. Even when there's not development, it's important that we revisit these things just to double check. But it seems that there has been no further developments on this.
Yeah.
And there was, let's see. So there was also like we had a discussion about the Ukrainian conflict, basically
Ooh,
like
sounds
the-
right up our alley.
kind of the I don't know if it had just started about 2 years ago when
I think it
Putin
was
started
like
pushing
November or something before
pretty
that.
strong into that, but we talked about the
the
war in
fall.
Ukraine. It's just it
Were
feels
we
very
pro?
it, I don't believe so. So I don't think our stance has changed, but it feels now similar to like the other wars that we are that America was always actively involved in. Because when you're like, oh no, the invasion started, and then you're like, oh yeah, there's still a war going on. I don't hear a lot about it, but I remember like last week they were like saying that Ukraine killed a Russian general in a attack, like a bombing. And they're like, yeah, we're fairly confident he was in this place that we exploded. But it never really seems to stop anything. Like when those like big announcements are had in breaking news on news stations, you don't see a lot of change. You don't. You just don't see it happening. So it's turning out, I think, that more violence is not working.
It hasn't ended. Do you believe that our podcast has spanned the entirety of the Russia-Ukraine war? So maybe somebody looks back on the history books and says, hey, we need to do an oral history, a documented history of this war. Let's find the podcasts that had it in their transcripts, and we'll listen
Right.
to the whole thing. And we
Right.
might get like some listens just because of that.
We're gonna get some
It'll
good
be in
hits
episode 1
when that happens.
and 101. Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
a nice little combo there. But yeah, not going well, I guess. Huh? Still not doing okay out there. It's it's incredible how flippant the West is about a war where people are dying every day.
Right.
And again, the Christmas Story. What a film! Just a real treat on
Absolutely.
Christmas Eve.
Up there too.
A real good time.
Up
Yeah.
there with it. So oddly enough, episode 2 we replicated. We repeated content, and I don't think we realized it. Because it
Oh,
addressed
no.
basically the same question that you asked me in episode 99, which was like, if you could start a business, what kind of business would it be? And I said at that time,
Sounds familiar.
a restaurant where like you had to have a good attitude and everything like that. And I was
You
back
said the
to
same
that.
thing.
Yeah. I said like the exact
Dude, you're
same
committed.
odd premise. Right. So
Well,
evidently
what
this is...
What does that do for you? Well, knowing that you said that twice without planning it,
Right.
that sounds like
2
the
years apart.
seeds of interest, of a passion, perhaps, of a
I know.
calling. Do you take any message from that?
I don't know anything about restaurateuring. Like, I don't know profit. I don't know how margins work, like, with that stuff. Like, that's the problem is I wish I knew something about that. But I can't fathom owning a business. I've never owned a business in any way, shape, or form. I've never run a business. And it's not like I'm, crocheting dog sweaters in my basement and trying to sell them on Etsy. Like, owning a business that involves like a location and stuff like that. Let me say I have nothing against people selling stuff on Etsy. I think it's great. But I'm saying a brick and mortar restaurant style is obviously a very different undertaking. And I don't think I would ever feel secure doing that because like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's fair. They're usually pretty successful too, even if you're really good at it.
Oh, restaurants are known to be basically surefire things. If you've owned a restaurant, put it in the comments, the open date and then the eventual closure. Let us know when your dreams came crashing down.
Well, you did go to one of Oswego County's finest business schools and graduate.
Mm-hmm.
So
I did take a couple business classes, although I don't believe my collective bargaining class or my e-marketing class will benefit me here. But we did do an exercise in one of my capstone classes where we had to like sell Nike shoes we owned a shoe factory or something for my capstone class. There was like one of those nationwide games. Remember the stock market game we played in middle school,
Yeah.
Home and Careers? Something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's in the cards, but I'd love to be in a venture like that.
well, if we get to episode 201 and you haven't explored it, then we're going to have this exact same conversation again. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, it's good.
Episode 3, you started talking like a valley girl, new age valley girl, and asked if things were fire, and you really just started being
Is this
annoying
fire?
with
This is
asking if things
fire?
are fire. But more importantly, I want to follow up is that you said you had started to listen to Bad Religion, and you really, really enjoyed it. And I want to know, you promised the listeners you were going to go through the Bad Religion catalog, and that's an undertaking. There are like 18 studio albums in that band, and I want to know if you progressed in any way, shape, or form through the Bad Religion catalog.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat a-hole?
Okay. Well, I get it. Like I said, it's a big undertaking. It's not like a 5-disc set.
I can't believe I would say something and not remember to do it.
That's so weird.
All right,
it is
listen.
very weird. Yeah.
By
episode 200.
Let me make that promise again to the listeners.
Okay.
And promise, much like a placebo, is the greatest thing you can give to somebody.
Right.
Is
It doesn't
it
matter if
fulfilling?
you fulfill
Who knows?
it.
It doesn't, yes, it doesn't matter.
It's getting that
But-
promise makes you feel
Yes,
good.
it is.
That's
It
what
makes you
they
feel
always
so
say.
good.
That they
Yeah.
always say a good parent makes empty promises to their kids
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
the promise part that brings the kid joy.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So-
You heard it here second, folks. I was gonna say you heard it first.
There's nothing more-
first, but
Nothing more
It's the
punk
second
than
time.
breaking promises.
oh, I see. Interesting.
Yeah.
Terrible, but interesting. Ant-Man, as you call it, Ant-Man WrestleMania.
Why
We
Why
talked-
did I call it that?
I don't know. You just saw Ant-Man WrestleMania. I mean,
Oh, because
Quantumania.
Quantumania or something.
Yes.
It sounded like that. I guess.
Um,
I don't know.
I guess. But this was at a time 2 years ago. We were at a very different place with the Marvel Universe. I think we were still kind of thinking like, okay, this isn't really a pile of shit. 2 years later, it's kind of a pile of shit. It is
It's
amazing.
not the high ticket
how-
item anymore.
It is amazing how 6 years ago, Endgame came out, and just everyone was so pumped to see Endgame. Like 6 years ago, Marvel could do no wrong. Arguably 7 years ago, when Infinity War came out, people were even more insanely excited. Like Marvel had just spent like a decade building to these movies, and everything was great. And then the Infinity Saga ended, and then they came back and just started doing other movies, and people were kind of indifferent on them, but they're like, oh, I don't know. But you still got to sprinkle in Ant-Man, and you got to sprinkle in another Thor movie. No, Guardians movie, I mean. But I mean, it's fallen apart pretty strong. It's crumbling pretty fast. There was some fan service bounce back with Deadpool Wolverine, but a lot of things have changed with their plans because of the reactions. So tell me this: would you rather, if you had to make a choice right now, would you rather see every single product on opening day that they're going to pump out over the next 5 years, or would you rather it just shut down and just enjoy what we enjoyed?
Either have to watch it all on opening day or shut down. I would say shut down.
Yeah, I would too. I
would
would literally rather just have it end than be forced to go see these movies as they come out.
I was never as big. I mean, I like a lot of the movies. I haven't seen them all. I haven't seen much of any of the shows at all. I still haven't seen Deadpool 3. But it's just like, I don't necessarily think they're bad. I wonder what the rap is on them. Like, does it seem like they're too cookie cutter now? Is that why?
No, they're introducing new characters and storylines, and everyone's like, I don't care anymore. Like, I don't need a new version of what you're trying to do. Like, I don't need to learn new characters and everything like that because it's all one big universe. And so people are just like, eh.
Well, it's probably post-COVID when so many people were anti-mask. It hurt the superhero genre. Like, it was just...
Oh.
It infiltrated other areas of our life. Like, it ruined everything.
Well,
so
I went in the opposite direction because you know what I saw this weekend? I saw a film.
What?
I didn't see a movie. I saw a film.
In the movie theater?
I went to, in the movie theater. I went and saw Nosferatu. Whoa. Yeah. Folks.
Isn't that what superheroes do?
Yes, it is. It was.
I was interested in it. I was interested.
It's delightful. Now, by delightful, I mean it is dark
Christmas
and
vampire pick.
It is old school horror. Like, you feel like you're like the way it's written, the cinematography and everything. It feels like you're watching a movie that was made 100 years ago. Like, it is somber. There is zero joy. There is zero comic relief. Like, you are in for 2+ hours of making
dread.
You feel like it is dread and dreary and it's not jump scares. There is nothing like jump scaring you. It is just slow, creepy sounds, off-putting visuals of like darkness and not sure what you're seeing. For those that don't know, it is kind of like loosely based on Dracula, but it's not. Like, Count Orlok is the vampire in this situation. It is a vampire, but it is not Dracula. But Count Orlok is played by Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in It. And he does...
He's getting typecast so hard.
He said it was like his last horror movie, but he also said it was because he takes his horror movie role so seriously that it's like messing with him, like emotionally and like mentally. Like, it's just not healthy to just keep doing horror movies. He does such a good job. It is insane how good of a job he does. But the other people in it are Nicholas Hoult, Lily Rose Depp, I'm trying to think. Aaron Taylor
Willem
Johnson.
Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. So it's great, but it is an old, depressing type horror movie. But it's
Aaron
it's
Taylor
very,
Johnson?
very good. Yeah,
Is that
AKA
Kick-Ass himself?
Kick-Ass, yeah.
No shit.
But yeah, there is no comic relief. There is no like, oh, we should put a witty pun in here just to brighten the spirits of America. No. No one cares how you feel at the end of this movie.
Did we discuss the movie Barbarian, or did I discuss that with somebody in my real life?
I don't know if we ever discussed it on pod or off. I have seen it. Naturally, I was going to mention that.
I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
I don't know that anyone has. You're right. It's a horror movie, but it can very much be spoiled.
But Bill Skarsgård's in that too, and man, the way he is in the first 20, 30 minutes of that movie leaves you feeling a certain way. And it's I don't want to tell you what happens, but I'm gonna say you won't see it coming. I'm gonna say you'll not see it coming.
Yeah, that's correct. We said you can't see.
I don't
what's
think it's
coming.
a spoiler to say.
We can't see what's coming with the substance. You really can't see what's coming with Barbarian. You cannot guess what is going to happen.
It's worth one watch ever, and probably only one watch. I don't know if I can get myself to watch it again.
Right, because it's absolutely worth the watch. I mean, it's a scary movie, so if you don't like horror movies, you're not going to like it. But if the horror movies don't bother you, I do suggest you see it because you cannot guess how this movie's going to roll.
And here's the setup. Because the setup, again, I don't think it'll spoil anything for you, but the setup is a woman shows up in Detroit for a work business thing, and she's at an Airbnb. Shows up to the Airbnb, the key's not working, or the code. Turns out there's a guy, Bill Skarsgård, already there, staying there. So it's raining. They end up spending the night, not like, they spend the night together, but now in separate rooms. It's kind of like the suspense of that vibe.
He claims he also rented it on Airbnb. So he basically claims, oh, no, I rented it, like a general mix-up. And, then there's an awkward vibe of those two sharing the house. Yes. The end.
So it's not the end, knowing that, it's not, it'll be fine. Just, yes, enjoy.
Right, and you're like, oh, I know where this is going.
What a setup, right? That's a thrilling
You're like,
setup.
I know where this is going.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You do not. Setup. I can absolutely tell you have no idea how that goes from that point.
Oh, fuck. It's good, though. It's good, and it's awful. And, worth it. Worth one watch. Get yourself in that. It is interesting around Christmas, though. It's almost like counter-programming to put out Nosferatu. Let's go into the truly horrific, the macabre. That's probably a better word. The macabre, if you will.
Exactly.
Dip into that. But cool. Good for you. Is it in black and white? I don't even know. Actually.
It is not. No, it's in color, but don't worry. They really push grays, earth tones, and black and white. But it's not in black and white, but it is in snowy Romania most of the time. And if you don't know, it's not. There's no beaches, no blue waters, nothing like that.
Excellent. I mean, I definitely want to see it. It looks good. It looks worth watching.
Yeah. Not a lot of rewatch value, though.
Any other debriefs on those first episodes?
Oh, let me see. I think there was something else. And we actually had talked about, and I was surprised, we talked about one other thing is, and I think we've mentioned it since, is emotional intelligence. We talked about the importance of emotional intelligence. You had mentioned since that you discredited yourself in the area of emotional intelligence. You had said that when you were a significant other, that you would just be like, why would I want to do? Like, you would very much be like, why would I want to do that? If that's what you want to do, why don't you go do it? And then blah blah blah. And then basically, you said you were not emotionally intelligent at that point. Now, given that what your job currently is, which was not what your job was 2 years ago, do you, think that you have gotten better with emotional intelligence, and do you find that your job, still new to it, but in general, do you find that your new job takes a lot of emotional intelligence now?
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
I mean, obviously, like it's, that's like a lot of therapy stuff, and it's having self awareness. And I would hope, 20 years later, I do have more. I guess it's not that, yeah. Somewhere between 15 and 20 years later from that relationship, I would have some more emotional intelligence. At least a lot of it. I think the trunk of it, the stem of it, is empathy, probably. And so that's like a skill that I think I've tried to work on a lot, and I hope that's part of it. And so I think my own failures inform like my job now, and I would say I'm very far from being great at it. Like I often find myself in the moment and just doing whatever I feel like or think. I mean, I don't like outright. I don't just do whatever I feel like or say whatever I'm thinking all the time, but there's times where I have to balance, like, I don't even know where I'm going with it, but like being in the moment and trying to like stave off like this feeling of knowing what could happen, what's the downside of something or whatever, versus just like living, but also like having some kind of awareness about the people around me. And I fail at it a lot, but I know that I do, and I can like debrief on it to myself or anybody else involved. I'm okay saying I'm sorry, even if I don't mean it, but especially if I mean it to people or just to like understand people. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just because of like, I don't know if it just happens with age or, more experiences, but I think that being intentional about wanting to be better at it matters and helps. And that maybe is one of the signs of emotional intelligence is like trying.
That was like the end of a paper, and that is one of the signs of emotional intelligence.
That was the day that intelligence was emotional.
Right. You just said that you have no problem like apologizing, whether I like to mean it, but I will apologize if I don't mean it. Do you find that apologizing, saying I'm sorry or apologizing, the problem with that, I think that's a complex situation. So the way I see it, because the way it kind of comes off this way from you when you say that, is that it's like, if I don't feel I've done wrong, should I apologize? Because I have no problem saying I'm sorry and not meaning it if that's what you want to hear, knowing that I don't mean it. But I feel like that's not what people are looking for. People are looking for you to apologize and mean it. But if I don't think I've done wrong, should I or shouldn't I apologize? That's tough.
And I guess I was in the context of saying I'm sorry as a way of being empathetic to like a shared experience or to understand. So maybe that's what I was leaning towards. But
see, I can't ever say that because like I don't think I'm like, I hope you mean something additional with that.
Like when someone, I'm sorry, that sucks, or something like that. Like, I'm sorry.
Like, I don't mind saying like, oh, I'm sorry you're dealing with that. That's usually what I say to people. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Yeah, that I absolutely agree with. That we have to be more cognizant and proactive with when someone tells us something negative. It's reacting in that way. Like I'm trying to do that more as opposed to offering advice. Because I'm very much I want to solve problems. I'm analytical. I want to solve problems. I feel like you're giving me a problem that you're asking for a solution. I'm realizing that is not the case with people.
Yeah, there's a great video, or I don't know if you ever heard of Brene Brown, but she's like sort of like a self-helpy author, but she's got a lot of books that people read several years ago. But she has a great video on empathy versus sympathy and all that, and it's kind of like empathy meaning like feeling with someone instead of like when you see somebody that has fallen in a well. This is just part of the video. Instead of saying like, "Wow, it looks real bad down there. Do you want a sandwich?" Versus like actually going down into the well with somebody and saying, I don't know what this is or what you're going through, but if you need something, just I'm here for you. That's all I can say. Like I don't know what else to say except for that. And so I think so. Maybe I'm wondering is emotionally intelligent just by you saying you're sorry, even if you don't mean it. Isn't that some kind of step to say like if you're saying what people would prefer to hear, why is that bad? I guess, or is it better than arguing it or fighting it? Because that's probably where I was getting at with not being emotionally intelligent with that relationship was like fighting the feeling, like instead of just wanting to be right or wanting to analyze versus wanting to feel with somebody. So I don't know if that's the exact definition of emotional intelligence, but saying you're sorry if you don't mean it and it matters to somebody, I don't think is a bad thing, right? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't
Maybe
know.
it's bad for you because it's not the result you want or it's not what you would do. But in that moment, does it matter what you would do or what you would feel if you're there to support somebody else or to at least feign it? Like that is a lot of my job. I was talking to somebody. I was at a Christmas party the other night. And in my role now, we were discussing, I was talking with an HR person who works at like a hospital.
Okay.
And she was like, we have like sort of similar things. And like when you're in HR, people, for some reason, it's like being a bartender in a way or something like that. It's like being a hairdresser. Like people think that you're their therapist now in a way. It's like, I'm not licensed to do that. But it's like when you walk around and talk to people, say, how's your day going? They drop bombs on you. Or they're like, oh, you're the person I can tell all of my negative shit to. And it's like, doesn't have to be my role. It can be okay. I'm not saying everybody does it, but a lot of people are like, oh, this is so like the holidays were terrible. Like so-and-so didn't come in or my son didn't come in. We got in a fight. And I'm like, I'm sorry. That sucks. And I'm just like, it's a lot of that because that's what I guess in my role now, I just have to like absorb people's shitty days. That's kind of tough, even though it's not like, that's not my training. I'm not I do therapy and I would recommend it to you and I'm happy to listen to you, but I can't solve this for you except to just say like, I don't know.
Well, aren't you supposed to advocate for them?
I know, yeah, advocate. Well, it is by advocating, saying, let me get you the help you need, or let me direct you. I can't hold your hand the whole way, but I can tell you what I've done in my experience,
So is that
and
what
I
your
think
job
you should do this.
entails? I still don't really understand. I feel like you're not telling us
Well,
what
it's
you do.
HR, but it's advocate. The
Stop
employee advocate is
saying
like advocating for our company's values, basically, and for our employees. So, like,
What does
I don't discipline people. Like, if people get in trouble,
I knew that. Yeah.
yeah, like I'm just there for them to make sure they understand. Like, I can't like. It's basically make sure people are treated fairly, and with our values, even if things are bad, that we
Right.
recognize who we are as a company, and our people, respect them, all that. Make sure they're empowered, get what they need. We care for them because those are like our tentpole values. So it's my job to make sure those are upheld by management and employees. So I'm like a neutral third party. I'm not like under store management in my role. So I'm like, I have a manager, a director, but she's like works for the division. So I'd report to her. But in the store, obviously I work in concert with the management and want to make sure like I flow well with what the store manager wants. But it's important for us to be like neutral, and that's our thing. So advocating for the employee doesn't always mean that they're right. Oftentimes it means that they're not, and they have to understand that and why and how to grow from it and to get better. So, but yeah, ultimately, just hearing a lot of people's sob stories is part of the gig. I'm learning, and it's a lot to take in some days because you walk around because you want like part of my role is like saying hello to people and all that. And I would say I love it. All the experiences are great, but it's amazing how much people will trauma dump on you, like in the morning at like 9 in the morning. It's like, wow.
Yeah, even as a trainer, people will confide in me like, oh yeah, I have to do this because I have a medical thing and here's my medical condition. Here's what I'm dealing with at home with my significant. I'm like, I don't need to know this. I'm like, I appreciate the fact that you think that you can come to me with this. And on a personal level, I don't mind people telling me stuff at all. But yeah, on a professional level, I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to be telling me this stuff. I can't get in trouble for knowing it because you're volunteering it. But I'm like, you don't need to tell me these things. Like, you probably shouldn't if we're being honest. But whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I like to give a little bit of immunity, just a little bit of that, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm an emotional genius now. If that's your question.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure that you were, in fact, you solved it.
Yeah,
So
it's all
good for
good.
you.
All good. It's all good in the hood. That's what we say when
That's
things
how we say it in advocate
are
world. Yeah, an emotionally intelligent advocate world. That's what we say. We say it's all good in the hood. So that's my rundown.
All
That's
right.
my rundown of the first 5 episodes.
I would so my thought in a debrief, like maybe like a relationship a friendship debrief. So since then, since the start of that, we've obviously hung out in person more often, and we're set to here within weeks' time.
Like, it's tough though. We're far away, and that makes it difficult. But that's why gifts. We're in multiple gift chats now, and like group chats, which is helpful because it's
We're in
like
group chats with your friends, who are not my friends, but like we've been in the fantasy football leagues together for a long time, but now it's like fully relational,
right. But like that helps too because it doesn't have to be a one. It's like oh, Matt would think this funny. Producer Steve would think this funny. The Bob would think this funny.
Producer Steve.
It's good because now it's like that's even a step further is when there's multiple group chats, not just a one-on-one thing, So like I think that further strengthens the process because then we've brought bridge people in, which is also helpful.
Yeah, it's weird to like see these names for so long, and then like meet these people and hang with them, and
right.
What's been like your maybe like favorite, I don't know, a moment or something since we started doing the pod?
Ooh.
Like between
Favorite
us or with a group
non-pod?
or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think going to like Steve's thing, his
That's
birthday.
what I was thinking. That was kind of
Like,
cool. Yeah.
It's kind of like
Like his
all
40th
right, like
birthday. Yeah.
yeah, like going to like an event like that at a place. We met there, like we both showed up there for another person. You got to meet Columbo at that. So like you got to
Or
meet
as we
yet
call him,
another
the former
person.
champ.
I knew it was gonna come out. I knew it was gonna come out.
We don't got to talk
But-
about it. We're going to talk about.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not until you have the
Not yet.
hardware.
We can save it for the end.
But yeah, I think something like that is pretty good, pretty interesting. Solidifies it. So yeah, I mean, small stuff like that is cool because it doesn't have to be epic things, and that's okay.
Yeah, like obviously, well, going to your place for the first time was cool. Seeing where you live, where you abide. It's good to like put a person in a place, an environment. With you and Kaylin and the goddamn awful cats. Don't let them listen to this. Listen to this.
Oh, Caitlin's gonna.
But yeah, meeting Bob, like, fucking meeting Bob for the first time on a 4-hour ride. We talked. I mean, that was a linchpin of our show for like 3 weeks, like the lead up to that. It worked out because then, like, it was super fun, like going to his our first football weekend, like the hang with Steve and all that. Like that was good. So I've enjoyed that, and I would say it's not. I haven't like traveled a lot for friends much or gone to visit, do things like that because I pretty much always lived with my best friends, and so or everything. When you're in a city too, everything's like very accessible, and there's a lot of people there. But also when you're really far away, it's not. When you're in the Northeast, things are more condensed. So it's like a lot more of an option to visit people,
Right.
things like that.
When it's travel that doesn't involve a plane, it's a very, very different concept. It's
Different world.
Yeah. But
Yeah. Have you noticed? This is a question I did write down, and I didn't even come up with an answer to it. I'm thinking about it now. Anything you change? Any change about yourself based on doing this pod?
anything I have changed about myself?
Yeah. Or I guess I don't know. It's weird because it'd be like, yeah, you can change in 2 years, obviously, because that's how life works. I don't know. That's about the pod, but is there
Right.
anything about this that has brought out
Um,
anything differently in you?
I don't know.
It's kind of cool to
maybe-
hear the first 5 episode stuff, and it makes me want to revisit it to just kind of consider it because the weeks as they go along, you do a little bit at a time. You don't get
Yeah.
to see it, but now I'm curious to know,
like
yeah, who?
I don't know. I think it's put into perspective. The concept of communication, and it helps. It's a style of therapy. It's you take general concepts that you're clearly aware of, but you might not necessarily implement. And then you have to ask yourself, well, why do I know about this? And why do I have this view on it and ability to talk about it in an objective fashion? But why might I struggle to implement it? Like emotional intelligence. We clearly both have a fairly good idea of how emotional intelligence should work and and how to be more self-aware and stuff like that. So I think it does help me be oddly enough, a little bit more analytical on things like emotional intelligence, which sounds contradictory. But I think it makes me have to be more aware to implement things because I'm just talking about it. So if it's something you can talk about, I think I try to be more I guess objective is a proper word, but just be more aware in how I communicate. Communication's a huge thing. Personal relationships are a big thing with me, and I just got to keep trying to be better at communicating. So the fact that we were able to do this and reconnect is, should serve as kind of the catalyst to continue to do it with other people. Either reconnect with people that you're like, I don't understand what happened, I should just reconnect. And even if it's on a small amount, take the time to do that, send them, a message. I think I'm more apt to do that now. Someone messaged, saying that online that they're struggling with something. I think I'm more likely to reach out and be like, hey, don't really know, like you say, kind of the empathy of like, hey, just want to let you know, keep working at it. Takes a lot to share that you're going through something online, especially if it's out of the blue and it's a big thing. It's like, hey, listen, that's clearly something therapeutic to you. I don't know that you mean to tell everyone on your friends list that this is a thing. Like, honestly, I don't think that people necessarily process that they're doing that, but it's like, hey, I'm a random person you probably didn't expect to hear back from on this topic. Most specifically, someone saying that they, looking forward to 2025 because 2024 they had relapsed on drugs and alcohol, went into inpatient rehab and stuff, and all news to me because I don't stay in touch with this person. Someone from, I was acquaintance with years and years and years ago, but messaged them literally this week and said, hey, clearly you're going through something. I hope you start the new year off right. Keep fighting. There's always time to fix things. You have kids that you're working towards. And I think I used to probably have those same emotions, but for some reason would be hesitant to say anything about them. So I like to think that this has helped me be a little bit better at opening up channels, even if it's a one and done with someone, but stuff like that might be really helping someone else. So.
Yeah, that's big because I feel like there's a Jeff in the world at some point in your history. I see somebody posting something like that. It's like this little bitch just wants online attention. You just feel a little,
Yeah.
you
Oh
know.
yeah.
But instead
I've
of like
been
seeing
that person. I've been that person that's judged people like that. But at the same time, right? It's like, okay, but if they're not, and again, if you've posted 10 times, I probably do think that if I have to keep coming across it and being like, oh, I
Yes,
fucked
little-
up
little
again,
cry
I
wolf.
fucked up again, right? And it's like, okay, but like if I'm like, oh, I haven't heard from this person, oh wow, that's probably why I haven't heard from them because they were an inpatient and they're like kind of pouring their heart out just to say hard reset, hard reset. Well, hey, here's a blast from your past saying, hey man, I don't need to get into it. I don't need to act like we're gonna catch up. I don't need to act like we're gonna get together or anything like that. But I'm hoping, I'm pulling for you after having read this. I hope you are righting the ship. Best of luck to you. And just leaving it at that. Thanks, buddy. Like, and that's cool. I don't need anything back. I don't need, oh man, I appreciate, can we talk about it more? I would if someone wanted to, but like, it's kind of a one and done. And it's okay. I like to think that it's okay for us to do one and dones. And and just root for someone, but have no need to like make it like I'm gonna guide you. Would you like to be my mentee? I would like to travel and check on you every 2 weeks. Like we don't have to do it, doesn't have to be grandiose problem solving. Like we should be more comfortable with just touching base and being like, I got you.
I'm here for you. That's big. I mean, that's big of you. I mean, it is. It's really hard to just like, I don't know, just be a human in the moment because it is the hardest thing to like not try to help somebody or dissect it or just be like,
but we're also like, we're afraid to do it. You want to do it, but you're afraid to do it, even though it's free to
That
do.
person's going
It's
through some
generally
shit.
quick and easy, but you're like, oh, this person will think like, why is this clown messaging me and wishing me well? But in reality, it's like, they just put a bunch of information out there. Like, maybe you're the only person who actually reaches out. And like, I think sending them a private message, because I don't have their phone number, and sending them a private message as opposed to posting on a wall, I'm not stealing the thunder and being like, look at everyone. Like, that's the thoughts and prayers with me sometimes.
Yeah.
Is when people are like, oh my gosh, you're so brave for posting this. But you put it on a wall for everyone else to see that you're telling him he's brave. And that makes me think that you're like, look at me, look at me. Ah! Like, so I think sending a private message of just well wishes, it's like, I'm not doing this for weird internet clout. I'm sincerely wishing you well. I don't need anyone else to know that I'm wishing you well and pulling for you. But so I think that's a big one, is I think people sending private messages, like instead of posting on walls and for the world to see, it's just sending someone a one-on-one communication. I think that means a lot more to them. So if it helped them or just, felt good for half a second, cool. That's cool. But if it meant more to them than that, that's cool too.
Yeah, and you can't deny that like a lot of our relationships now are online. So when somebody's reaching out like that or saying something, like maybe that's the way they can communicate or they understand it. That's how they communicate. So to get some kind of like feedback is good, just like it would be in a real life situation. And so it could still like hold some value to it, and I think a lot of I try to be more active. Not so, I mean, I basically am an Instagram guy. That's it. But like a lot of my relationships are just online, just with people. Like just sometimes some of my relationships with people is just watching their story. And maybe it's people I met a long time ago. For some people, it's people I met in the last couple of years. Hey, maybe I met them at a bar one night or whatever, and now we just follow each other. But I still watch it just because like sometimes I want people to know, like, I don't know, I'm interested, or, it's like, that's okay to have that relationship. It's a new type of relationship in the last decade, but it's like, our relationship is we just look at each other's stories, and that's fine. And once in a while, I'll toss you a heart or whatever to say, that's cool that you do that.
Yeah.
Will we ever talk again in person? I don't know, but if we ever ran into each other, like it has happened. Like, it's weird because when I see people in person, after having like some kind of like months on months, like Instagram story relationship or something, it feels more connected in a way because it is still kind of like a relationship. And there's like even some people from Austin, like one of my best friends from there. She lives in California now, but I think right around the time I was about to start moving here, she just started sharing like whatever reels, and then I started like we share reels almost on the daily for the last 4+ years, and that's and like every 6 months we might talk, like we'll get into it, hey, what's going on with this, or how you doing, like, and that's but every day we send. I don't know, maybe we miss a few days here and there, but then all of a sudden you'll go and you'll see like 8 reels or 4 or 5 reels, and like, but we get each, and it's like always shit that I know is going to be good, and it's like it's such a fulfilling relationship to me that exists like that, and but I think it still holds value, and it's still worth it to pursue those. And again, yeah, I mean, just tossing out or comment like. Once in a while, like, again, I don't really comment too much on, like, people's regular public posts, but I'll send them, like, a DM, or if they post a story, it's like, hey, that's cool. Like, tight. That's awesome. Hope you're well. Just, like, nothing behind it, except I think people appreciate it because I would appreciate it,
Yeah,
I don't know why.
it's
It's
as
just
simple
like,
as that.
just to know somebody cares about something, so.
Don't
And that's because of you,
overanalyze
Jeff.
it.
I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for you. So that's what's changed. See how I did that? See?
I've had this 4-year habit with this person because of this podcast we started 2 years ago. Thank you, but I don't think the math's there. But yeah, man, I get it.
Wow, look at us. Who would have thought? Not me. Not me.
Not me, not never.
And quickly, before we go, before we tie a bow on this show of empathy and understanding, let us acknowledge, at least at the beginning of 25, that one person went wire to wire and completely dominated the Pigskin Anarchy Football League this year. Maybe the most abusive, utterly destructive tour of force ever in one season. Jonathan Taylor's version walks out your champs. And it didn't matter. And there's nothing anybody could have done about it. They could have. It doesn't matter how the playoffs went. Anything. It was over. I think so. I mean, you're looking at a new champ. You're looking at a title holder, and believe me, I will be insufferable as much as I am now. Imagine it for 365 days.
I'm so excited to see where this goes, and you better deliver. That's all I'm saying. You need to up it because however much effort you put into this, you're setting a freaking bar.
Yes. Because the title lived for the first year. I mean, in our 13th or 14th year, you introduced the title belt to the picture, and I want that more than anything. It looks so good. It looks like the old school Intercontinental title, the white strap, and it's $300. It's legit. I am going to wear it to work. I already told people today I'm going to wear it at work. I'm going to, like, that's not enough. Like, Colombo, great champion. You were the champion the title needed at the time. But I'm the champion the title deserves. So we're going balls.
Listen,
I can't wait to get this fucking
Columbo's Bret Hart, but you're Shawn Michaels. Like this, it's a very different type of champion.
Basically, yeah,
Columbo's Bret Hart, you're Shawn Michaels.
Great technician. Yeah, great out there. Great at move. I see him. I see his roster pickups this week. I saw him. He was like, I see what he was doing, trying to like make plans and everything. Mm-hmm. But I'm there to be flashy. I'm there to make noise. I am gonna wear this thing nude across my genitals and send you guys pictures of it. Yeah.
Man, this is a lot funnier if you think that he's kidding, but there's a part of me that goes, he might do that. Like, that might happen.
Oh, utterly insufferable. It's all I ever wanted, ever since the title.
I just wanted a chance to be
I don't even care about the money. The money's nice. It's a cherry on top. But to just get the chance to text what we call now my friends, my dear friends, pictures of
and that's the importance, and that's why getting that title in year 13 of our champion, like of our league, that's why like it needed to happen. Like it breathed new life into that.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Into this whole process.
Yeah. So a real treat. I'll probably blow up the team. I might retire. Who knows? No, I gotta try to go back to back. But I can't. I don't want to give up the strap. I don't even have it yet. But
I mean, and it's got to be. It's the blessing of calling it Taylor's version. I mean, it's just it's the power.
Ever since my team was Taylor's version,
it's the power.
Dude.
It just went on an unprecedented streak. It's like went on its. Matt had his own eras tour of this freaking fantasy league and just destroyed previous records.
Yeah. It was a great year. Great year for the squad. I mean, if Chiefs win again in the regular football, is that what you call it? Regular football? I don't know. I might have to roll it back with the same team name and keep
non-fantasy football is what we're going to call the NFL. Non-fantasy football.
Yeah. But
Reality
hey, guys,
football.
if you guys are listening in the league, I appreciate you. Thank you for letting me stomp you all year. I can't wait to do it again next year. It's a real treat to be friends with you guys. I can't wait to see you in person.
We're like 363 days away from taking the world back.
Can't wait. You guys cannot
so
wait.
Much,
a year from now, it'll be over, probably.
Yep.
That's just the way it works. But still, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. So, well, there it goes. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope we got you through your first hour of just buzzing through YouTube videos in the morning.
Opening up New Year's presents.
Yeah.
I don't know how this
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. Rolling over in bed, being too hot and too cold all at the same time. I don't know how that works. It sucks. Sweating and being cold and standing up. Hey, you know what? Stand up. Stand up. It's okay. Get up. Put some slippers on. Walk into the kitchen.
Okay.
Just you don't got to drink all the water. Just drink a little bit of water. Pop a couple ibuprofens.
All of the water?
Yeah.
You don't have to drink all of the water. There's a finite amount of water.
Yeah, sip it. Sip it. Let it wet your lips. It's not going to feel great right away, but you'll feel better. It'll be okay. All right? Mm-hmm. And you know what? Strangely Familiar loves you.
Wow.
Because you love yourself.
Okay.
I hope. I don't know. Happy 2025, everybody.